And what the reports said is that the boys noted, the whole crew, they noticed a kind of a mist. And there was conflicting reports later on. Again, this was, good Lord, freaking what, 75, 70 some years ago, 73 years ago. The boys note, some reports were saying that it was a red mist, but the most of the reports that I read when I dug in this, you know, I try to triple source everything, said just a mist. Okay, so a mist was there, but either there was some type of red glow behind it. And then they all stopped and they noticed it. And then all of a sudden, man, it's hard to describe this thing. I do a lot of research and I've talked to a lot of people who have had a lot of experiences. I've had some strange experiences happen to me, but I've never heard anything described like I'm about to tell you they described this thing, right? And so Gene, the National Guardman, had his flashlight with him. He's scanning the mist, and all of a sudden out of the mist, a 10-foot tall thing started floating towards them. And they described it as having a spade-shaped hood, right? A glowing red face with piercing eyes, claw hands, and its body seemed metallic with a skirt underneath it, with no feet, and it was floating. Now, normally on these episodes, I just use my verbal skills to describe it for you, but this thing was so foreign to me, I actually am going to show you what it looked like. A little with the magic of my button here. This is them. I don't know if that's Freddie or Eddie May right there, but that's their mother, Kathleen May, and that's one of the boys. And this is what they drew. And if you look at that paper is probably about a 3-foot tall piece of paper, and they described it. And they even, if you look to the right side of it, I don't know if my mouse cursor will show up right here. If you look right here, they actually put a man there to try to give you a size estimate of what the creature looks like. I've never heard of a cryptid described this way, and I've never heard of a alien described this way, right? Now, this isn't the only strangest, his appearance is not the strangest thing about this. So I actually took the description of what he had, and I worked with an AI editor, and I was able to try to make this close resemblance of what it looked like in the setting of the wilderness as well. The background being dusk with a little bit of mist on it. And this is what they said was coming towards them out of the dark. Now, I didn't feel the need to make his eyes red, but just based on the description that they had, because when you go in there and looked at it, it didn't really say his eyes were glowing red. It said it was a red background, but he had like a piercing, like a glowing, well, it did say glowing red face with piercing eyes. But I don't know why I just went with this, but you can actually get an idea of what it kind of looks like, right? But that's not the strangest thing about it. The strangest thing about it is that it had a skirt on and it was levitating. It was moving towards them, not walking. All of the people said, all 7 or 8 of them said it was gliding towards them, right? And its hands. The hands were supposed to be claw-like hands, but his entire body seemed metallic, like it was a robot, right? And when this thing, I can't call it a cryptid, and I really can't call it an alien, but like I said, we'll dig into that a little bit with some theories that I have on it. When it noticed when it noticed them, it didn't make any sounds. It didn't really go after them. But what it did do is that it started to emit a chemical of some sort out of it. And the only thing that I can relate to when I was in the military, all military people go through gas chamber training, where they basically lock you in a room, they roll in a canister of some high level military grade pepper spray, and they wear you out. This thing started emitting that, right? And they described it as a nauseating mist. The dog bolts out. The dog breaks out, right? And the other people, Gene drops his flashlight, but all of them start getting sick, right? instantly start getting nauseating. And they were describing, I mean, I'm going to read their what they described here. They were all describing the same symptoms that you would get from military grade tear gas. It makes you want to throw up. It makes you want to, you lose control of all of your liquid functions of your face. It burns the back of your throat. It's really horrible, right? So let me cut this back on the live stream. You guys get your last little look on that. So it seems to me like this thing gassed them. That's the only way that I could look at it, right? And the reason why I say it gassed them, and I'll tell you the reason why I think that in a second, is the closest thing in my mind that I could rationalize what happened, actually. That's the event that took place, right? It was some form of crowd control, for, you know, lack of a better word. And it worked. They dropped the flashlight and they bolted, right? But they also described a hiss and hearing sharp metallic sound, right? Almost like something inside the creature opened, like a grinding sound. And that's when the mist came, and that's when the nauseating chemical attack happened, because this definitely was some type of chemical. And so anyways, the whole crew breaks out, man. They take off running, man. They bolt. They get back to where they're going. They're having nauseating fits, man. It didn't really say that they were vomiting, but I can only imagine that they were, you know, throwing up and stuff like that. But that is actually the exact same things that would happen to you if you get into a, what's Griff say? Yep, I love CS and CN gas. I smoke that stuff. That's what it is. So Griff has some experience with CS gas. Yeah, CS gas and CN gas, right? That's what it reminded me of back when through my only life experience. I tried to equate with it. Now, you know, when I do these stories, you know that I like to look for police reports, right? And this actually has a fairly awesome police report with it. As a matter of fact, it had two deputies that involved it, a sheriff and a deputy. I want to give their names on here, man. Real quick, I jotted this down here. I'm sure it'll come to me. Sheriff Robert Carr and Deputy Burnell Long showed up, you know, 20 minutes later. I said it didn't really give an exact time, but they showed up, right? And what they did is when they showed up, they went out there and they searched the entire field. Now, this is very interesting in the story that I found, right? It's because it said they found no monster in the field. Nothing, right? And that's what they referred to it as, a monster, obviously, because you know, 1952, there was no TV. There was, you know, I can only imagine what they thought they were seeing.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.